episode 5.
5,
but
I
it's
think?
like episode 4, part 2.
4, part 2, yeah. Because we're going to continue our talk about,
last week we were talking about healthcare.
Yeah.
Or inequalities, but we talked about FDR a bit. And I've read a lot about him, and he's as far as politically, I mean, there's no perfect person.
Now, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
As the resident capitalist in the group,
Yeah.
I do want to encourage everybody to like, comment, subscribe, and share us on all your social media.
We don't mad at me because I don't share it on Facebook every post.
That's true, but I do. But we make no money on this, nor do we seek to make any money on this. But we want to have this conversation with as many people as we possibly can, because we think that the things we discuss, they engage us, and they help us think, and go down roads and see perspectives that we had never thought about before.
Right.
And we feel like that's made us more balanced, and more respectful and more educated. And
we step away from like having a team sport argument.
Yeah.
And just looking at a person and talking to them and realizing they're made up of, a bunch of different ideas.
And so we would love for you to join in that conversation. YouTube, you can comment and stuff there. Or you can get our podcast everywhere podcasts are, and you can direct message us. You can reach out to us. We want to talk about this with you. FDR. Gonna let you go. The capitalism moment over. And then FDR.
Let's not do team sports.
Yeah.
Capitalism. Where are you at? Obviously, you're on the other side. No, I mean, we said last week, he was the compromise.
Yeah, he was.
And he was pushed forward. The good thing about FDR is he had a very strong, I wouldn't say cheerleader, because she pulled him around a lot on different topics and held him to task on a few New Deal prospects, but his wife Eleanor. Yeah. And so they fought together for the New Deal. And a lot of it was, help for the elderly. They did Social Security was their big achievement. And it was for people, is it over 65?
It's 65.
I think 65.
This is where it landed.
And it was funded by people not having access to it. You paid into it your whole life. But at the initial, start of it, those people had not paid into it their whole life.
No.
They were
only receiving
something they did not give. Mm-hmm. So at the very beginning of it, it was we're going to take care of these people. It wasn't I'm going to take care of myself.
Yeah,
I'm going to pay this into it.
It wasn't I'm saving for the future. Right. Is I'm paying to support somebody now.
Because even how it is today, like the money, you're not putting in money into like a 401k. Like you're paying for an elderly person to live.
Knowing that when you're elderly, someone else is going to
do that for you. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let's not get it confused with, taking care of yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely...
It's at the very beginning, the way
it's a selfless program, not a selfish one.
Mm-hmm. So, then we talked about how he brought in the second Bill of Rights, and it was, one of the key highlights of it was access to health care at all ages, but especially for old people old Americans to live in dignity after they've retired, after the point where they can take care of themselves. We're not going to throw them off a cliff, when they become useless to our consumer economy. And then after he died, Harry Truman came out with, he called it his fair deal. And it was like a fair, like you benefited from these people at some point, or you've benefited from this economy and it benefits off you. Yeah. At some point, the economy needs to take care of the people that have built it. The economy is not a person. It's a manufactured system where we are trading, and we've made it big, and the people living their whole lives have made it big. They came to it to buy groceries, to use the roads, everything, buying gas, all that stuff. And at the end of their lives, when they no longer have the means to build up the economy, like the economy is so big, it has a responsibility to let those people live, retire, and die in dignity rather than starving to death in some hole. And then you get to even Eisenhower. He's like he was a Republican.
All of these help me out, and I might be wrong. Mm-hmm. So, but all of these included tax increases.
Yeah. Well, that was
on varying income levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a progressive tax income. So when you start making $1 million, like me and Bill Gates pay the same amount of taxes on our first, like, I don't know what, like $28,000.
Yeah.
You know, and then it progresses. So when you say, I don't want to make $1 million because then they're going to tax all this other, no, that's not how it works. Like, you got blocks. The $1,001,001, that's when you're going to start paying those taxes on that. So that's kind of how it got set up, and it was set up in a capitalist way. Like last week, you talked about the guy who make $3 million, you can't make any.
Yeah, you can't make any more. Yeah.
FDR had this, and I don't know that he did the progressive taxes, but I'd say that he's a framework builder for it, where they're like, no, you can keep making more money. We're just gonna tax you a little bit more,
a little bit higher
on each bracket
as you go up,
and each bracket is self-contained. You know. But then we get to Eisenhower, who he was a Republican, and even he said, like, it's suicide to try to take these programs away, like Social Security.
Yeah.
He's like, they're so evidently like needed and working.
Yeah.
And this vein of like being selfless to take care of the people whose shoulders we're standing on, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you would be a madman to do that. And God love him, but then Reagan came in. Isn't he your hero?
I'm a Reagan fan. I'm a Reagan fan.
And he did a lot of good things. But he did have
I love how we've completely skipped over, like, Kennedy, Nixon.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're
Jimmy
right.
Carter.
All those guys,
No, I'm happy with it.
All those guys did the same thing.
Yeah, they were advancing the same agendas.
Nixon was pushing for a single payer.
Yep.
JFK was pushing for it. Like, all these guys were playing that same vein.
Yeah.
So, you know, from FDR up to Reagan,
Jimmy Carter was just counting peanuts. He was just, we don't know what
Jimmy
he was
Carter's a great guy. But, you know, all of them were. You know, like, people give crap to Nixon, but, like, he created the Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah. You know, like, this whole team sport thing, it was there, but it also wasn't as polarized as it is today. There were different factions at play, but we clearly had leaders who were listening to the people, because these programs have always been popular. Even today, like, single payers, like, up in the 60% of approval. At this point, I'd say after all the virus stuff, like, it's going to shoot up another 10 points or something.
Probably. Conspiracy. Hashtag Alex Jones.
What?
Is that how hashtags work?
I think you have to type them.
Oh, whatever. I don't know. Okay, boomer.
That's what I mean. I think hashtags are like capitalist in general, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, to get more attention and traffic and all that stuff. So you should know about.
I should know about hashtags.
But then so he let's. Jeez, man.
Sorry, I derailed. Well, let me jump in here on because you mentioned single payer, and we've talked about insurance, and I would say that I'm in favor of a single payer system, except that I've noticed when we have a guaranteed loser, like a third party loser, like I go in to see a doctor, I have private insurance, okay? I go in to see a doctor, they can bill me whatever they want because a third party is going to lose and pay it. And so as the person that's paying a monthly premium, they take this money from me every month, regardless of whether I need it or not. I don't care if they pay out. I'm actually kind of happy if they do pay out.
Make you
worthwhile. The doctor's looking at me saying, this isn't taking money from you, it's taking money from them.
Yeah.
I'll just bill you really high. Like, we can scam the system. I end up winning the most.
Yeah.
But
because you stay alive,
but it doesn't hurt, you know. Well, I end up winning as a patient because I stay alive. The doctor ends up winning because he's making more money. And again, this is simplistic. Doctors are hired by organizations who are then contracted by hospitals. So it's a much more difficult situation. But there's a guaranteed third party loser who's not in the conversation that we send bills to, and they pay them.
I guess.
Because they've run the numbers on it, and they've figured out overall. Insurance companies are not dumb. They're making money, lots of money.
Yeah, well, that's
because
exactly.
they know and they hedge their bets and work their premiums to match it. But when you have that third party loser, I think, like, it's always going to be corrupt, and it's always going to be not the best service for extraordinary prices. I think that is promised. So what the single payer system, I don't hate the idea. I don't hate private insurance as an idea. However, I've seen private insurance play out where that guy just keeps losing, keeps getting kicked, and so he just raises his prices, and that all ends up it ends up on the doctor a little bit, but it ends up mostly on me, the guy that's paying the premiums. All my premiums are going up,
right? Well,
and that's because of it. And so I want to say this: I'm not opposed to a single payer, but I don't want to get kicked both places. And so right now I get kicked because I'm paying a premium, all right?
Yeah.
And that insurance company, he gets kicked a little bit because the doctor's jacking up prices to make sure he gets paid. I don't want to also be the single payer, the government. I don't want it to be also me losing on taxes. I feel like you're just moving the liability over here, and now it's more on me.
Yeah, but we can say that, and that was the same conversation. Let's go back away from Reagan. That's the same conversation that was being had, before LBJ came up with Medicare.
Yeah.
And currently, Medicare is like, on government programs, it's hard to find programs that have very high likability by its users, not by the people outside of it.
Are you saying only compared to other government programs?
No.
Are you comparing this to service at Chick-fil-A?
No. Yeah, exactly. I'm saying of government programs. Okay, like most people like to kick on the government.
Yeah, everybody hates the DMV.
Yeah, exactly. But Medicare is everybody loves Medicare. That is using it.
Yeah.
You can hate it as a 35-year-old, but as soon as you turn 65,
I don't use it. I don't interact with it. The only interaction I have with it is it comes out of my check.
Exactly.
That's the only
interaction. Same thing with Social Security. Yeah, exactly. So when he came in and did that, we got rid of the private sector of all. What is it? 65? I think it was 65 when he introduced it. I don't know what it is now. And I know there's like.
Yeah.
Back then it was like A and B, and now it's like A, B, D.
It's multiple. You can take like a lower payout at 62
all
or
this stuff.
61 and a half or something. Yeah.
So, but it took care of these medical expenses. Social Security wasn't cutting it anymore.
Yeah.
On a lot of these older patients to cover like their drug costs, their doctor visits, their annual checkups, because things, unfortunately for all of us, when we turn 65 or any age, like things are going to start popping up.
Yeah.
So I could skip having an annual visit with my doctor when I was like 20 to, or even 16 to like 25.
Yeah.
But now like things are popping up.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was the idea behind it, was that enough screwing around with this insurance and pharmacy industry and the doctor and the patient. Like, the government's going to come in and take care of this. And it has worked. And the idea behind LBJ's Medicare was that...
You're proposing Medicare works better than private insurance.
Well, it does for them.
Okay, I'm just clarifying that.
So he, built the frame for it, and he had not just him. Every president has a cabinet and doctors and scientists who speak into these programs. But their idea was that we were going to walk this program back to cover everybody. Like this, we're about 100 years. The last person developed country to create like a single payer system, like happened 100 years ago. We're like 100 years behind everyone else. And clearly the system's not working because we're the country with the highest medical debt. Drug prices are soaring here. Yeah. Where they're
not everywhere else.
Yeah, well, because every other government.
Same drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can go to insulin in Canada and buy it for $10, and then you go here and it's 100. So like, why are we allowing? I see the drug companies like going to all these other places and kind of being a loser. And right now, America's like that third-party loser.
Yeah, no,
on a global economy scale.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight with that one. But what I'm saying is like, we have to bring more regulation and more lockdown and lose more freedom in our free market beyond just heightened taxes. And that's the thing. Like, I think conservatives in general will jump on. Don't tax me anymore. I don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be helping out these people I don't know.
Yeah.
These people that are choosing to live in poverty. Whatever the argument is, and I'm not saying they're justified. Whatever the argument is, they generally center on the taxes that you're going to take from me.
Yeah.
But that's not even close to the market changes that are going to happen with pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, but like,
research and development. The argument is good and it's valid. If pharmaceutical companies are not making the high money they're making, are they going to have the money to put into research and development? Is that something? Are we going to move research and development now to the government? Like, is that what
it already is there? Most of it's already there. Most of it's already being done in universities that are paid for with government. Yeah, exactly. And then those patents get sold to a third party who then jacks the prices up. Like, the only people losing is I'm paying my taxes for these universities to fund these studies, and not all studies are done. Some are done privately. I understand that, but a lot of them are done in universities and with doctors at different medical schools. So why am I losing out on the research that is being done under my tax-paying dollars? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Well, you're not losing out, but you're just having to pay for it again.
Well, I'm losing out because
yeah,
I owned it in a certain sense. Like if the patent was owned by the government and then they sell it off, and then those guys can jack up the prices. I just think that there needs to be like a price limit where the government can strong arm these patent holders and say, of course you can't. That's how every other system works.
Yeah.
Across, in different countries where it's going to be so expensive if we do this. Look at how high the drug prices are. Well, every other country, it's not that high because they say, of course you can't come in and charge us whatever you want. That's stupid. Show us what it costs to make this, what you need to, make a good living. We're not telling you to live dirt poor, but you can't just jack up the prices for no reason.
I feel like this reaction generally exposes someone as someone that's just trying to win an argument. So I want you to not take it that way.
Oh, I'm ready.
But like at some point when we say we have to provide for those who can't provide for themselves, we have to say we're willing for the wealthy, for the middle class to have less so that some people can have something.
Yeah.
We have to say that. That has to be what it is. And I don't hate that idea on the forefront, but a good capitalist would say, why don't we let private people make that decision? Why does the government have to come in and regulate that I'm giving? I'm no longer giving, it's being taken. And I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Because it's no longer me being generous. It's the government forcing it from me.
Right.
And so when that happens, like it loses all my inspiration to be good and charitable.
I guess so, but
it takes it away because I'm like, I give through that, so I don't.
There's a lot of things that take away your need to be, generous. Like let's look at the coronavirus right now, and you didn't do this, and I didn't do this. Yeah. There's videos all online of like people who are buying like
large amounts of
20 cases of toilet paper.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about like the quarantine stuff, it was like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah. 3 weeks max. Right.
I use maybe like I've got, a toddler and one still in diapers, and then me and my wife, we go through maybe like 6 rolls of toilet paper in a week. If that, like we're gonna need one case for a whole month.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah.
So when this stuff happens, we don't have the freedom to trust in a free market, like in every area. I'm not saying take away free market in every single area.
Yeah.
But clearly, like for a free market to work, you've got a product that you want to sell, and I've got a need or a want.
Yeah.
But when my need is to live, then that product, money is not an object in that sense. Like all that stuff is that economy of pricing and price cap. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I just want to live.
You'll pay anything to live. Yeah. You'll give anything to live.
So in that sense, like the free market is great. Like if we see the whole thing is like a car, the free market is the engine that keeps it running. But like, it's not the car.
Yeah.
It's a great part to the system. But eventually, like you need the brakes on the engine.
But again, but what I'm saying is somebody has to lose to let somebody survive. Somebody has to lose something.
Yeah.
And they can give it willingly, or it can be taken from them.
I think that's
and
just the responsibility.
If we move to a single payer system, where the government is providing free health care.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not free though.
It's not free, but we're funding it through taxes, right? Well, obviously we can't tax us enough to pay current prices.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna have to negotiate prices down with big pharma, with doctors, with all of these service
providers.
But
you're negating the entire insurance industry. Like that's a huge part of the current pricing of it is we've got to pay medical scribes to argue with the insurance companies over payment.
Is that not going to be any different? Isn't that just going to be government now?
Right, but like you're doing the prices with the
it's individual
the negotiation. When we're talking about a single payer, like all of us can't band together and have these 300 million conversations. Like if you've got one entity, and it's got to be
but
we've got to have a lot of speech into it.
Are you okay? Are you okay with a pharmaceutical sales rep making less money?
What does that mean? Though?
Are you okay?
I don't know what they make right now.
Okay, a doctor down at the hospital makes $150,000 to $200,000 a year.
Yeah.
Are you okay with them making less money overall? Are you okay with them being $70,000 or $80,000 a year?
That's not an easy question to answer because
I know,
but because you know very well how much medical debt, educational debt they've taken.
Yeah,
on.
It's crazy.
It's insane,
and
the things that in the situations they're in, like where if I'm asking someone to make decisions over like life and death scenarios in each part of their day, who am I to say like what they should make? But I don't see. But I've heard
when a
conservative
pushes back. Yeah. When a conservative pushes back, I think it's the idea. I mean, obviously we're better people, and so we're thinking about it in a bigger form. But when we push back, it's because
I wouldn't say better, but
but I would say conservative will generally look at. They won't put bigger picture on pause to look at the small and like say, hey, let's fix it here and we'll fix the next thing when we get to it. Because this is the thing, like to get a single payer system, we are most likely going to be having to take money from other places, other profit sources besides just tax money. It's never going to happen in tax money alone. So we're going to have to negotiate better drug prices, better medical service, all across the board. There's going to be CVS is going to be making less money. Doctors are going to be making less money. Pharmaceutical companies are going to be making less money.
I'm okay
Hospitals
with that.
are going to be making I mean, you know, who isn't? But that's so out there. I've got friends that are doctors. I got friends that run CVS's. I don't want that general manager at CVS that's making he's making $60,000-$70,000 a year. I don't want him to be making $40,000-$50,000
at the numbers right now either. Like if we're talking about doctors' pay, like I don't think that's a big of an issue as you're making it out to be. I think that
it is for a doctor.
No, I'm saying like
for a doctor who bought an $800,000 house, it's a big deal.
I understand that. I'm saying what they're being paid isn't like what's dragging the system down right now. I think that most of the money is in the patent holders jacking up prices. That's where most of the wasted money is being. But we're talking.
What I'm saying, no. What I'm saying is it's a bigger issue.
Maybe.
So, but we're going to impact them. We're going to have to address. What are patents are creative property. We're going to have to talk about intellectual property.
But who pays for
We're going to have to talk about intellectual property. We're going to have to talk about obviously taxes. But there's just a lot of things we're going to have to address.
I guess
educational costs. We're going to have to talk about education. Maybe education is something we provide for free.
But we're acting like we're going to have to reinvent the wheel here when every other developed nation has it. So like we're not having to reinvent the wheel. We can make some of these programs that have worked everywhere else in the world like the American way.
International students are coming to the United States on grants and on scholarships from U.S. institutions so that they can be educated to go back to their countries and work.
Well, that's fine. But those are rich people's kids are doing that. But like, so you see every tale of that you hear of an American going over to some European country and breaking their leg, and they're like, God, this ruined my whole trip. Like, I'm going to waste all my budget here. And they're like, what do I owe you? And it's like, what? We don't pay. You don't do that here. And they're like, what? Like, why don't we have
tipping
this at
too.
home?
Because
our country is so much better.
Internationally, people don't tip.
Because they pay their
workers fairly. I love this. We're going to have to wrap this episode.
Jeez, we didn't even get to half the stuff.
We didn't.
I mean, we went off a huge tangent.
No, but I don't think so. I think we talk about healthcare, but I think there's multiple layers.
We'll get to Reagan next episode.
Yeah, you really want to get to Reagan.
Well, that one speech, we can talk about everything good that he's done. That's fine. Yeah. But that one speech is, I think, what offset this whole conversation between, I'll give you a preview.
Okay, we'll take it.
He was saying that healthcare is where socialists are going to creep into the system. Yeah. Because no one wants to say, well, if you can't afford to live, then I guess you have to die. No good person is ever going to say that.
Yeah, that's
true. Then the people who are pushing that are just these slimy socialists who don't necessarily just want the good of these people. They're just using them as human shields.
Hashtag Alex Jones.
To push. Yeah, well, I mean, that was... what do you say to that? Like, no, we want good things for these people. And this, like we said before...
Ill intent. Yeah, we have to assume the other team's got ill intent. Otherwise, we won't be fired.
And we'll unpack some of these words like socialism and communism in the next episode too. Because I mean, I feel like for us to have a good conversation about this, we need to realize like we want to make. Well, I don't know. Me and you want to make capitalism work, but like FDR when he came up with his second Bill of Rights, like we can't have freedom if there is hunger. Like a hungry man is not free. He's going to go to the next. He's like an animal looking for his next meal. You know what I mean? A sick person is not a free person. They are ruled over. Their whole identity is
free
ruled
nation.
over.
We actually decided on this long ago, and we said a free nation can't have slavery.
Right, yeah.
Because we can't let
But then are you a slave to your hunger? Are you a slave to your sickness?
We can't let somebody sell themselves into slavery.
Yeah.
We can't force people for sure. That seems wrong. But we can't even let people sell themselves into slavery because it's not a free nation then.
But if people aren't free. If God forbid I catch whatever disease or I'm diagnosed with cancer, and my only way to live is to take a $2,000 payment out or have to pay that, and I mean I guess I owe the bank or the hospital that, like, I'm then a slave to them.
And the Bible clearly says it.
I'm selling myself into that.
The Bible clearly says it, or Dave Ramsey. I'm not sure who said it first. Maybe Dave Ramsey said it first. I don't know. But the slave or the borrower is slave to the lender.
Right, yeah. You get a big raise, you go buy a truck, and then you're then working for the bank, you know?
Yeah.
Or whoever holds that.
And that's high medical costs put people into bondage and slavery.
I mean, exactly. I mean, and that
high education costs put people into bondage.
Yeah. And we'll tackle education as its own series too, but like we're going on now, but we'll wrap up here.
We'll wrap up. Thank you for tuning in with us. Obviously, you can join our conversation over at YouTube. We interact regularly, like Curtis said a few episodes ago. They always caution people not to read the comment section of their own videos,
but we do. We do.
So we're very interested in conversations there. You can direct message us. Podcast anywhere podcasts are available. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. If you hit the bell on YouTube, it just notifies you every time we upload. Mm-hmm. So it's just a good thing to do if you like our conversations.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
See ya.